Hello students, good morning, and how are you today? How has your week been? I hope you've been getting through with the lessons from the beginning of the week. And please don't forget, if you have any questions on anything you don't understand, always send a message on Class Dojo or during the Zoom class. Don't forget to ask. Okay, so this morning we'll be looking at a review. We just want to have a review on what we have learned from the beginning of the week. We looked at lesson 1 and units 1 and unit 2 of lesson 12. So let's see what we've learned this week and have a quick review. Well, this week we looked at reading and constructing graphs. We looked at how to interpret graphs, and remember we looked at we tried to construct the line graph, and we also looked at some other ways that we can represent information. That's with frequency tables, pictograms, and bar line charts. Let's have this quick warm-up activity before we start the class. From the beginning of the week, we've learned a lot of things. So at least let's ask a question, or let's try to remind ourselves of one of the things. How do you find the mode of your line graph? I'll give you just about 10 seconds to think and say the answer. I'll tell the answer after now, and we'll see if you got the answer correctly. So 10 seconds almost gone. Okay. All right, now let's see what you have done. Well, you know what you've done, but then you'll be true to yourself to know if you got the answer correctly or not. If you got it right, thumbs up. But if not, then just look again and, read over again. Let's see the answer. The answer is check which one of the dots that appear most on the same line. That's which one of the dots on your line graph appears most on the same line. So you have to check which dot appears most or appears repeatedly on the same line. Look at this example from our book. Can you see that? We have the information about the age of someone and the height of the person. Okay, it's a plant. I think that's Tyre's plant. Oh, sorry, we couldn't. Okay, jade, growth of jade's plants. All right, now look at this. Can we find the mode from this graph? Of course. We said the mode. To find the mode, we check which one of the dots appears most on the same line. Check which one of the dots appears most on the same line. So which one of the dots appears most on the same line? 6 appears once. 6, the dot on 6 appears once. That's 6 and 1. The dot on 12 and 2 appears once. The dot of 14, 3 appears once. 16, 4 appears once. But look at 18. 18 appears on 6, appears on 7, and appears on 8. So to find the mode of your line graph, check which one of the dots appears most on the same line. All right, now let's go to the lesson. What's our lesson objective for today? Today, we want to review reading, interpreting, and constructing graphs, which we did in the course of the week. And we also want to review frequency tables, pictograms, and bar line charts. In the week, we already told us, or we already learned what a frequency table is, what a pictogram is, and the bar line charts. So let's go to the lesson. Reading graphs and interpreting graphs. First, let's look at how do we interpret a graph? How do we read the graph? And how do we interpret the graph? Look at this graph we have here, for example. What is it called? What type of graph is this one? Great job. That's a line graph. That's the one we've been doing mostly during our lessons. It's called a line graph. All right. Now, can you see the dots? And you can see the lines connecting the dots. So it's called a line graph. We have the vertical axis. You see the vertical axis on running from the top to the bottom. That's the vertical axis. And we also have the horizontal axis running from the left to the right. Vertical axis is from where you have from 0 counting up to 1000. That's our vertical axis. This is the scale of our vertical axis from 0 to 1000 up here. Then look at the horizontal axis. We have it running from 0 also down to 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. That's our horizontal axis. So first, to read your graph, look at the title of the graph. What is this graph talking about? It says shoppers at Carrefour. This means some people went shopping in Carrefour. Okay, so let's see the vertical axis. The second one says scales of the graph, the vertical axis and the horizontal axis. So we check the scales as well. Let's see the vertical axis. What is it talking about? So we're going to know what each of the scales represents. Okay, I think the vertical axis must be talking about the number of people. Ordinarily, you would even have the title number of customers. Okay, so you will have that title number of customers. And on the horizontal axis as well, there will be a title like it could say number of hours or weeks, let's say weeks, or days, day 2, day 4, day 6, day 8, and day 10. So this is now talking about shoppers, people who came to shop in Carrefour, the number of the people, and the days they came to shop. We're looking at the space of time between day 1 and day 10. Okay, so that's how to read and interpret a graph. And finally, you connect the vertical and horizontal scales based on the data you are given. For example, look at where we have 2. Where we have 2 on the horizontal axis, if you trace it up here, it falls somewhere above or somewhere a little after the middle of 200 and 400. Now checking the scale now, what is the interval between two numbers? What number are we adding to make the next number? We're adding 200 to make the next number. So let's assume we have 5 lines. We have 5 lines. We're adding 200 to make the next number here. So let's assume we have 5 lines in between. With 5 lines in between, 200 divided by 5 is 40. So we'll assume or estimate that we're adding 40 in between each of the 5 lines in the middle. That's between 200 and 400. So the one that is on 2, let's see where it falls. Maybe falls on somewhere like 380 or like 360. It should fall, around 360. So we connect the vertical and the horizontal based on that data. What does that mean? 360 people came to Carrefour on day 2. All right, so that's how to connect the vertical and horizontal axis based on the information given. All right, let's go to the next.